This isn't extensively researched or anything, just some random thoughts, and I'm blowing off steam while I work on a much larger video, tentatively called Won't Someone Think of the Children? Far Right Smear Tactics and Its Victims. I've been working on that since March, so expect that sometime next year, dear God.
Because God has cursed me for my hubris, and my work is never finished.
Hi, I'm stuck in bed here with some important God given divine advice. Fight your shitty family. Pause here for title card. I get it. Being an ally is hard. Oftentimes it leads to rifts and divides. But are those rifts and divides bad things? Take humble little old me. I am the embodiment of what a perfect ally should be. An ally should be ready to throw down at any time. Now, there has been a lot of talk about ally fatigue, and I say, oh, go cry about it to your mommy. Sorry, that wasn't very empathetic, but I honestly don't know how empathetic I can be. I never got to choose to be queer, and I've been queer my whole life. I went my whole life hearing about how disgusting queer people are, that I was going to hell, blah, blah, blah. You already know this story from every ex-fundy gay kid. So this constant barrage of how I was awful garbage and seeing how that affects other queer people I know who have been homeless, kicked out, denied jobs, denied healthcare, assaulted, well, I get tired of it. Heck, I went to get Chinese food one night and was nearly attacked. It is exhausting. But seeing folks who claim to be allies unwilling to stand up for me because they're exhausted is so frustrating. Like, seriously. There has been a lot of talk about the best way to approach bigots and get them to see reason. And there's been a lot of pressure for marginalized groups to approach these bigots so they can hear our stories and understand. But no, just no. What's the simplest way I can put this? If we all have to fight off a giant hungry dog that loves to eat waffles, you don't send the waffles to deal with it. But that's kind of what's happening now. There is so much emphasis on listening to marginalized voices, which is good. We should always do that. The people are getting it confused with forcing those marginalized voices to do all the work. This is how that works. So let's say your school. Say, for a random example, Messiah University has students that want to start a white student union. The right way to handle the situation is to not make it a debate topic where black students are forced to come out and defend their very existence, but to say, what the fuck?
What the fuck? Hey, Todd? What the fuck?
Because marginalized groups, in this case black people and non-black POC people, should not be put into a position where they're forced to defend their very right to exist and have to put up with this diet racism, which is just an elaborate form of gaslighting. Like, no. So where's the line between we have to believe everyone can change their mind when approached through logic and reason and personal stories, and we're endangering marginalized groups? It's wherever the marginalized groups draw the line. So while we're all understanding and reaching out, are we placing marginalized groups in precarious positions? One example I think of often is Daryl Davis, who befriended a Klan member in order to get him to stop being racist. The TED Talk description under his TED Talk says, Daryl's unorthodox yet simple approach has wielded surprising results and just might be the solution for all racial discourse. There are some giant-sized holes in that claim. I think it's wonderful that Daryl Davis was able to convince a single Klansman to retire after many years, but what he did was extremely dangerous. A black man attending Klan rallies is an extreme danger, physical and emotional, and to sit down and seek understanding with someone who thinks you and everyone with your skin color are subhuman, you are opening yourself up to mental abuse. To sit there with an air of civility while someone tells you that you are not worthy of life exacts a toll. Also, there's a bucket of research that shows that white people are less likely to listen to black people. White people approaching other white people is just more effective and safer for all people of color. So, what does this have to do with family? A lot. Oftentimes, the safest person to approach your family is yourself. People who know each other are more likely to listen to each other. Pretty obvious, right? Now, your goal doesn't have to be changing your family member's mind. Not every racist, transphobic, homophobic, ableist, sexist sack of shit is going to change. But the important thing is to lessen the impact of their words and actions on others. For instance, let's say you're out in a restaurant and your dear family member mentions some impeccable wisdom from the smartest of boys, Ben Shapiro. You have to shut that shit down. Now, I don't want to get bogged down into some discussion about, wow, free speech. If you control people's free speech, you control their thoughts. Wah. Because they themselves are often being controlled and are too afraid to listen to any idea that doesn't already support their views. Seriously, I gave my homophobic mother a book to read about the Bible and homosexuality to try and open a dialogue, and she absolutely refused to read it because it possessed a demonic spirit. No, it's a book written by a theologian who actually knows the historical context of the Bible. Sorry, it doesn't jive with your worldview. Great to see that libertarian free marketplace of ideas is working. But also, sometimes protecting one form of free speech means endangering people's lives. I mean, we all saw Trump's campaign race and how hate attacks increased by 20% because his nonsense was protected as free speech. Or how about an even simpler example? Let's say that giant dog started talking shit about how waffles are coming over to rape people and are criminals, and so in response, hate attacks against waffles rose by 20%, and little waffle children get locked in cages. Well, that would be bad. An example of how protecting the dog's right to free speech directly endangers waffles. But now imagine that there are hundreds of little dogs that hate waffles or are indifferent to their suffering and that they spread hate, maybe unintentionally, because little dogs think they are good people. Imagine. So your family are the dogs, and each time you let their nonsense go uncontested, you endanger fellow waffles. I really shouldn't make up metaphors when I'm hungry. Also, obviously, the metaphor is a bit limited. Marginalized people aren't waffles. Not challenging your family is kind of like saying you don't care. Like, am I really to believe that you care about trans people or black people or women or whoever's life is on the line this week if you can't fight your family when they say some garbage, racist, transphobic trash? It's honestly a betrayal that you don't challenge garbage at home, that you don't care enough.
Well, I was stuck in bed, and you were stuck here with me. But now you may go and live your lives. Go, be cute, keep gay, be crime. Bye!
Julie, do the thing.
Don't freak out. It's not real.